Spinifex Zoo's Australian Outback section is halfway to completion, and we need to start planning on the next section in the zoo. As Jill Murphy checks up on our animals, she recently realised that Willow, one of our female koalas, have been acting more aggressive towards Kevin. So we brought her up for a checkup, and it seems like she is expecting a joey. We are all excited and can't wait for our new koala joey, but this isn't the only news. As we head over to the kangaroo enclosure, a sixth kangaroo has joined us as Jayla, our pregnant kangaroo, has let her joey out of the pouch to take on life. Meet Kia. She is officially the youngest member of Spinifex Zoo, and also the most curious and feisty. She is most commonly seen with her mother, but when it comes to feeding time, she is all up with her keeper, curious about what's going on. With all these new additions to the zoo, it has been keeping all the staff busy, especially Sophie Mormon, and it's been so much that she's been forgetting to feed some of the animals. So to give her a break, we have hired another keeper for our Australia section. Meet Michael Brown. He will be helping out with the feeding and cleaning up in some of the enclosures in the Australia section. Besides the new additions, if we head over to the Gold Coast Wildlife Shelter, they have been looking after Darla and Dama, our two red pandas, but now this enclosure is empty. They have been sent to where that we got them from, over to Keystone Wilds. This will be great for them, as they will get to have their own enclosure without them having to wait for us to get the budget. We will miss them, but we are glad that they will get an enclosure that they deserve. Besides from our red pandas, it feels like something is missing in our roster. I mean, we have a lot of prey species, but we don't have a predator species for all this prey. We recently opened our largest enclosure yet, our kangaroo enclosure. This enclosure is fully themed to represent the Australian outback and grasslands, to mimic the red kangaroo's natural habitat. You have already met Jayla and her joey Kia, but we're still yet to meet Kia's father. Meet Phoenix. Phoenix is the only male in the mob, and is also a great father. Phoenix is very protective over his mob, and is especially protective over Kia. When the keepers and vet were doing a checkup on Kia, he was there the whole time, keeping an eye on everything that is happening. But now that we've met the parents, how about we meet the rest of the mob? Meet Joa. Joa is like a second mum to Kia. Every time it seems like Jayla needs a break, Joa looks after Kia for the time being. Meet Jana. Jana seems to be very independent, and is usually seen by herself grazing and exploring. But when it comes to family chill time, she will always be there. And finally, meet Jalen. Jalen is probably the most relaxed in the mob. He is most often seen laying down up in the shade, but can be seen grazing from time to time. Spinifex Zoo has been growing in a very relaxed pace, but it's always the best feeling when new additions join the roster, and just seeing them interact with their new environment is the best feeling. Luckily, Spinifex Zoo is nowhere near done adding to the roster, and technically, we have just begun. While Crane & Co Constructions created this wonderful enclosure, they already prepared the next enclosure right next to it, but we had no idea what to put in it, until we got a call. Recently on Fraser Island, there are two dingoes that seem to have been kicked out of their group and left on their own. This has caused them to become aggressive towards visitors and causing some non-fatal attacks on humans. To save the dingoes and humans from more fatal attacks and injuries, we have stepped in and began monitoring their behavior out in their environment first, before making any unnecessary moves. As we monitored the two dingoes' behavior, we realized that the reason they are so aggressive is because they are injured and hungry due to conflict with others and competition over prey. Due to these reasons, we have taken the necessary actions and brought them to the Gold Coast Wildlife Shelter for proper care and food, as Crane & Co Constructions start building their forever home. And we have finally gotten the green flag to begin construction, so how about we begin building? The plans for this build are pretty simple. All we are doing is building the dingo enclosure right across from the kangaroo enclosure we built previously. If you're enjoying this series so far and want to support this channel, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to like and comment, even if it's something small like a name suggestion, as it really helps push these videos out to more people. Let's meet the first predator of Spinifex Zoo, the dingo. Dingoes are said to be vulnerable by the IUCN, with an unknown population in the wild, which means housing these guys can help with their population of unknown. On the next page, it shows for 2 dingoes we need a land space of 1,254 square meters, which we can make happen, but they don't need any climbing, water or deep diving requirements. On the third page, it shows that the pack size for dingoes is 2 to 12. We have rescued 2, and we are hoping that they will grow their pack from that. On the fourth page, it basically just shows all the enrichment they can use, which is nothing we are unfamiliar with. And basically on the fifth page, it shows that the dingo is not able to share a habitat with any other species. How about let's get on to building. We have finished our long holiday break and are officially back in Spinifex Zoo to get this zoo open. Luckily today's build will be pretty simple, as it is an extremely similar style to our kangaroo enclosure. As I finish adding walls to our first viewing area, I will take inspiration from the kangaroo enclosure and put planters in areas in between each viewing area. These planters, like last time, will have semi-tropical plants in them to start transitioning the theme to the next section in Spinifex Zoo, as well as make this zoo much more lush. To begin every planter, we must add the mulch for the plants to sit in. I will be adding this to both the planters so we can get them done at the same time. Then I'll come through with the trees and buffalo grass, as these are the first steps with any plants. Of course, grass doesn't just hang by itself. There's always different types of bushes and small shrubs that make up plant life. So we will add large nettle, white sagebush, and also ponytail palm trees to help make this planter look more alive. And now the first of many viewing terraces are complete. The view that you get from this viewing terrace is really good, so hopefully our guests will enjoy it too. I am now going to start just finishing the whole outline of the dingo enclosure, so the viewing areas and where the planters will go. And all of these planters will stop people from viewing where I don't want them to view, and add greenery to the zoo and the enclosure, as this is a very sand-based enclosure. And finally, I will be adding the paths to the viewing area and all around the enclosure. And overall this is looking pretty good. Once the plants are added to the planters, it'll look so much better. Like I said earlier, the first thing you add to the planters are always buffalo grass and trees, since they are the easiest to get out of the way. And apparently the trees and grass are the only things I recorded, because I forgot to do the rest of the plants. But right now we are adding information boards all around the enclosure, and this is basically how it looks now. It actually looks a lot better than I imagined, so that's good. But I will have to go back off camera and add the rest of the plants to the planters. The view from the bridge is also really good. I would like it if you could see more of the enclosure, but that's my fault on my end. But if you're viewing the enclosure from here, you get the whole enclosure to see, which I really like in this case. We have about 4 more things to do before this enclosure is ready. So let's get 3 of them out of the way real quick. Starting with the sand all around the enclosure. Once the sand is complete, I want to go around adding some rocks in very square and boxy areas, especially where the viewing areas are. These rocks can stop the dingoes from getting too close to people viewing and disrupting the guest's view when too close. Or it can give the dingoes climbing enrichment, but I guess it's a win-win. I had this plan where I wanted a big center rock, so I'll be building that, as I feel like if the dingoes can climb this, which I doubt, it will look really cool. Overall, in my opinion, this rock work looks really good, especially because I'm not very good with rocks. And the third thing I need to do is the enrichment, and with a bit of editing, it is now complete. The last thing we need to do before the enclosure is ready for the dingoes is adding the plants. I wanted to go for a deserty island vibe at first with dry grasses, but I eventually realized that Fraser Island is really lush sand island, so I switched to a more lush vibe with these plants. I first added the palm trees for coastal vibes, and then I'm adding the grass around, as grass grows in basically every spot, no matter what. And now that the trees and grasses are done, we can come around and add all the extra bushes and shrubs, like the creosote bushes, and now the large nettle. I really like how the large nettle looks with the buffalo grass to add extra textures and heights to our grass. To add more of a lush feel, I added the arrowwood bush, and to block most of the dingoes' view of the kangaroos, I'm adding lush and tall plants around the mesh barrier. This enclosure looks amazing, and the coastal island vibes is really there. But now the enclosure is officially 99% complete. All we need is the dingoes, and I think they have arrived to the zoo. The dingoes have officially arrived in their new enclosure, and they seem to be very happy with their new home. So far, the two dingoes have only been sniffing and marking their territory, but once that's done, they will be playing around with their enrichment. Our predator and prey enclosures are complete thanks to Crate & Co Constructions, and they have done an amazing job mimicking the natural environment of the dingoes and kangaroos. And they are not done there, as there are plenty more enclosures to be built. The dingoes are loving their enclosure, and it's great to see how they interact with their new environment. As the dingoes explore their new enclosure, and our kangaroos get used to their new neighbour, our roster is getting bigger, and as we send a request to be able to rescue animals from other continents to pass the time, we will begin building our next enclosure. If you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing, and also leaving a comment, even if it's something small like a name suggestion. I hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye.